Welcome back. This is the 7th part of our series on the pattern you keep repeating. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden force that quietly shapes almost every decision you make. It's this subtle but incredibly powerful pattern, that magnetic pull you feel towards what's familiar, even when you just know, something better is right there in front of you.
Just let that one sink in for a second. Think about it. A year from today, your entire life could be transformed. But the bridge to that new life? It's built one choice at a time. So what happens if the main tool you're using to build it, your own mind, is secretly keeping you stuck right where you are?
And this brings us to what I like to call the familiarity trap. It really is like this invisible current that just seems to drag you back to the same old patterns, no matter how hard you try to swim in a different direction. Does that question sound familiar? That little pang of recognition? That cold knot that forms in your stomach the moment you realize, oh, I've done it again. You've chosen the same path. You know this road. You know every single pothole, and you know exactly where it leads. So, why did you turn here again?
This isn't just about one little corner of your life. This pattern is a master of disguise. It shows up in our relationships, right? Where it feels like we keep dating the same person, just with a different face. It pops up in our finances, where we repeat the same spending habits month after month. And oh yeah, it's definitely there in our careers, where we find ourselves in the same type of job, just with a different logo on the building. The scenery might change, but the script feels exactly the same.
So, this is the question we really have to start asking ourselves. At every one of life's turning points, are we actually making a conscious choice for what's best for us, or are we just on autopilot, letting this unconscious bias for the familiar steer us right back down that same old road?
Okay, so to really get why this trap is so powerful, we need to go a little deeper. We need to look at the operating system of our own minds. Because it turns out, your brain has a default setting, a kind of prime directive that often completely overrides what you consciously say you want.
And here it is. This is the truth that can kind of blow your mind a little. Your brain is not optimized for happiness. It is hardwired for survival. And to your ancient brain, survival means one thing above everything else: predictability. A familiar discomfort is a known quantity. But growth? Oh, growth is a total wild card, and your brain's internal risk assessment system immediately flags it as a threat.
This is where we get this idea of familiar pain. You know what this is. It's that soul-crushing job where you know every single task, every frustrating meeting. It's that toxic relationship where you can literally predict every argument before it happens. It's a misery you know inside and out, a comfortable discomfort. And your brain, in its endless quest for safety, will choose that predictable pain over the uncertainty of a new, potentially better path every single time.
So this is the internal battle that's going on inside all of us. On one side, you've got the well-worn path of familiar pain. It's predictable, it feels safe because there are no surprises. Your brain loves this. But on the other side, you've got the uncharted territory of unfamiliar growth. It's unpredictable, it feels risky, it's packed with unknowns. And this is the path your brain is literally programmed to fear.
Seriously, take a second and think about this. When was the last time you chose the devil you know? A situation that you knew wasn't good for you, but the thought of leaving just felt like too much effort, too much of a risk. That wasn't a vote for your happiness. That was a vote for the easy, familiar option. That was your brain's default setting kicking in. All right, so now that we get the why behind this pattern, let's get to the good stuff, the how. How do we actually override this ancient programming? How do we consciously choose a new path, even when our brain is screaming at us to just stay put where it's safe?
The good news is there's a pretty simple 4-step process to break this cycle. First, you just have to create a little bit of space for a new choice to even have a chance. So you pause, just for a second. Second, you have to acknowledge that pull of the familiar. Don't fight it, just notice it. Like, oh, there it is. Third, you introduce a game changer, a powerful question that can totally shift your perspective. And finally, you get ready for it and you embrace the inevitable, that feeling of discomfort that comes with doing something new.
This question right here is your secret weapon. It's the circuit breaker for your brain's autopilot. Is this choice just a repeat of my past, or is it actually a step towards my future? Asking this forces you to zoom out, to see beyond the immediate comfort of the known, and to connect with your long-term vision for yourself.
And this is huge. This is where you have to recalibrate your internal compass. That feeling of discomfort, it is not a red flag. It is not a warning sign to turn back.
In this context, it's actually a sign that you're doing something right. It's the feeling of your comfort zone literally expanding. It's the sound of a new neural pathway being forged in your brain.
And this leads us to an even bigger idea, because every choice you make is so much more than just a choice. It's a declaration of who you are. With every single decision, you're basically casting a vote for your future self. You are, quite literally, building your identity, one tiny choice at a time.
When you consistently choose the familiar path, you're not just staying stuck in the moment. You're actively programming yourself to be a person who shies away from opportunity. You are etching an identity of hesitation and fear into your very being.
But, and this is the beautiful flip side of that, it only takes one conscious decision to step off that beaten path. That single act of courage sends a shockwave through your entire system. It's a message to your brain that says, hey, I am more than my programming. I am capable of change. I am a person who grows.
So think about the choices you've made just today. Were they echoes of your past, keeping you anchored to who you've always been? Or were they whispers of your future, small but really significant steps towards the person you're trying to become?
And this brings us to our final and maybe the most transformative idea of all. What if discomfort isn't the enemy? What if we've been misinterpreting its signal this whole time? What if instead of running away from it, we could actually learn to use it as a kind of compass?
The moments that truly define you are never found in the calm waters of certainty. Your life is forged in the crucible of the unknown. It's forged in those pivotal moments when you're standing right at the edge of your comfort zone and you have to choose. Do I retreat back into the familiar, or do I leap into the vast expanse of what could be?
So, you see, the aim isn't to create a life without any discomfort. Honestly, that would be a life without any growth. The real mastery is in learning to read your internal compass. It's about developing the wisdom to know when that feeling of unease is a warning to stay away, and when it's the needle quivering, pointing you directly towards your true north, growth.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The next time you find yourself at a crossroads, hesitating to take that new path, just ask yourself this: am I really avoiding failure, or am I just avoiding the feeling of being a beginner again? Because on the other side of that temporary discomfort, that's where the person you've always wanted to be is waiting. And the answer to that question could be the very key that unlocks your entire future.